all year.
These division games are like this. Throw the records out the window. That's not just cliche, that's real.
It's about finishing in the fourth quarter.
Finley will keep it right up the middle.
We got a lot of work to do. We're not a good football group right now.
Just pissed off. Just lost the game.
Okay? We got to be better than what we've been, and that's just the reality of it.
Well, man, the Steelers had a 99% chance to win the AFC North entering Week 15. That's now dropped to 89%, according to ESPN's Football Power Index. If the Steelers lose to the Colts this Sunday and the Browns beat the Jets, their Week 17 game in Cleveland will determine who wins this division. All right, as for those Browns, Marcus and Dan come down to the wire on a preseason bet involving Baker Mayfield. Take a listen to this.
Where's my boy Swagoo at? Where's my guy? I told you Baker was going to play good this year.
The when train goes off the track, he got to find a new train to hop on.
And Marcus, you're going to owe me $100, bud.
Straight cash, homie.
He is playing on a different level this year.
We can plan on another 2 damn years of hearing how good Baker Mayfield is until the next one come along.
I want to have a party in the end zone today.
Everybody be careful, because when things go south, Dan Orlovsky going to find a new baby to hold on to and become brothers with.
Sorry, Dan, you with that Baker baby is too much for me.
Here's my thing. I made that bet with you in like July. This was before Carson played bad. You can't use that against me.
All right,
Yeah.
What are the stakes, though?
Are you going to pay me? We made a $100 bet. We made a $100 bet
You
that
bought it
Baker
up.
would throw for at least 25 touchdowns and less than 10 picks. And 2 games left, he's at 25-8. So Baker, I need you to show up for your boy in the last 2 weeks.
Marcus, is it going to be like 5 $20 bills? Is it going to be a $100 bill? Like, what are you working with there?
I'm going to spend it, too.
However I want to pay it. I might fill a water jug up with pennies. However in the hell I want to pay Dan $100.
That's fine.
If it happens.
Please
okay?
pay him in
Listen,
pennies.
they got the Jets and they got the Steelers left. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, if Baker throws 2 picks in the next 2 games, I want y'all to watch Dan Orlovsky interview for the following week.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm going to enjoy spending your money.
Hey, Mina, who wins this bet? Who do you think's going to win this thing?
No! Oh, I didn't want to get dragged into this.
I dragged you in, sorry.
I think the most entertaining outcome... I want Baker to succeed, but I also want Dan to fail. I don't know. I'm really torn.
It's so torn.
Where did that come from?
All right, I'm going to say, you know what? I think Baker's on such a roll. I'll go ahead and say, I think Dan's going to win this bet. It's going to be really annoying,
and she
too.
wonders why I call her a quarterback hater.
I do.
Oh, my goodness. We dragged all of us into this. All right, elsewhere in the AFC, the Colts are 10-4, and they need to keep winning to ensure their spot in the wild card race. Just 2 games remaining. And up next, it is those struggling Steelers. So much going on in this AFC playoff picture, which is really interesting as you think about all of it. Listen, Mina, we talked all preseason about Phillip Rivers not costing the Colts games with turnovers and hoping that he wouldn't do that. But your view on Rivers has changed a little bit in recent weeks. Why is that?
It has. And Laura, some might say I'm not a quarterback hater. In fact, some might say I'm a fan of great quarterbacking, and that's exactly what Phillip Rivers has brought to the table in recent weeks. Look, the whole narrative around the Colts before the season and honestly through the first half of the season was Phillip Rivers just needs to not hurt this team because the defense is great. They've got this great offensive line. He just needs to not turn the ball over. But over the last month and even beyond, Phillip Rivers has not only kept this team from losing, he has won games for them. He is pushing the ball downfield. He is making throws that we talked about Ben Roethlisberger, who is his age, is not capable of making anymore. And here's a stat that blew my mind. Okay, over the course of the season, Phillip Rivers has the 4th best passer rating in the NFL when pressured.
Wow.
Pressured. I don't think anyone would have seen that coming. I'm very high on these Colts because it's not just the defense that's winning games for them. Phillip Rivers is playing very good football.
Yeah, so I think the thing that has really stood out for Phillip is like the experience is starting to show itself. Mina just hit on like, all right, he's pushing the ball downfield and making big-time throws when they need to. And we can go back to Sunday. There's 2 minutes left in this game. They're in a bowl game against the Houston Texans. They get a penalty and it gets to 2nd and 20. And I want to show everyone really how the experience pays off for Phillip Rivers. Starts with the formation. They got their trips down here. Great. Now, everyone look at the tight end. That's that 3-by-0 formation. Information number one. Philip Rivers is going to look up here and say, I got a corner back there. Now, Philip goes, all right, I know they're in zone defense. You wouldn't put a corner on that tight end and play man-to-man. It's going to be zone defense. Now, there's two kind of zones, right? There's a middle field open, two safeties, middle field closed. Now, if you're looking for zone tells, right? Zone tells what kind of going to be. That's where this experience pays off. Because right now, this could be cover 3 where that corner goes back there and that corner goes back and you go to the middle field and you drop down. That could be cover 3. So you got to call a play that's attacking that cover 3. And again, you could call something where this could be cover 2. He drops down, he spins back, and he goes to the flat, right? So you're trying to find the guy that's going to tell you what kind of zone it is. This is experience. He finds this joker right there, right? If this was going to be that cover 3 where he goes back and he goes to the middle field, this guy right here, he's got to be outside leverage. You see those two receivers? This man has to be outside leverage because his job is the flat route. He would have to be outside these two receivers to get to where he's supposed to with the ball on the right hash. Now, you guys tell me, where is he? He's splitting the difference between 1 and 2. He's right in between them. Philip Rivers goes, I know you can't play outside leverage and play, or you can't, if you're inside, you've got to be cover 2. He sees that guy in cover 2, knowing those safeties are going to go back. They're going to get that squat, and he's going to go, hey, T.Y. Hilton, I want you to run right down the middle of the field. This linebacker that's walked up in the line of scrimmage, he is going to have to run vertical with you. He changes the play at the line of scrimmage and realizes, my job, hold that backside safety, okay? And T.Y. Hilton, you're good enough. You're the old reliable that you go run right by that linebacker. Look at when he cuts this ball loose, right? Those safeties are split. T.Y.'s running right down the middle of the field. No linebacker can cover him vertically, and it's a game-winning 2nd and 20 throw. Like we talked about early in this season with Philip Rivers and, you know, the new team, the no off season, all that stuff, and it got off to a rough start. But it's a perfect example of like we probably judged it too early. And the experience has certainly paid off. Mina, you touched on the big plays, and it's been the difference maker for this football team. It's also going to be why they will be a brutally tough out in the playoffs.
All right, so let's carry on with that theme. Marcus, are these Colts a legit Super Bowl contender in your mind?
Yes, they are with what Dan just highlighted. And Dan made a point about like us being too early. No, we're looking at what we're looking at, right? This is what we expected Tampa to do. Get better. Find some things that the quarterback does do at an elite level and continue to grow. And when we get to this point, we could talk about you being in that position. But let me go to the other side of the ball with Eberflus. Let me obviously talk about Buckner and Danico Autry, who I think changes the whole identity of this defense when they're both in the game. We remember they were both out. One due to COVID, I think, or it could have potentially been both. But we see the difference in this defense, the ability to apply pressure. We know what Darius Leonard is in the middle of this defense in coverage, but also finding the ball carrier. And even when they bring him on blitzes, and we look at this secondary who's just making timely plays. They turn the football over. This is a team during the playoffs for 3 hours. If I'm telling you, hey, and that's what the playoffs are, and that's what people have to be reminded of. It's 3 hours. Right. It's like that particular opportunity. We're not talking about a season's long sample size. You have to be good for 3 hours. If you look at this Indy roster, the way that Philip Rivers is playing and how this defense is built,